Beijing, the political and cultural heart of China, is no stranger to sudden weather shifts. Yet the hailstorm that swept across the capital left millions of residents stunned and unprepared. The dim sky quickly darkened, strong winds rose, and within only a few short minutes, bustling streets, ancient hutongs, and wide ring roads were all engulfed by a fierce downpour of hail. Small and large hailstones pelted the city, from tiny pellets the size of peas to chunks as big as ping-pong balls. They struck bus shelters, balcony rails, and turned familiar streets into slippery white ribbons, as if winter had suddenly returned. The sound echoed everywhere, metallic rattles on rooftops, sharp knocks against windows, then heavy thuds as larger stones hit awnings and parked cars. Strong gusts of wind reduced visibility as smaller hail was swept into swirling sheets of white. Transportation was the first to suffer. Hazard lights flashed across ring roads as drivers slowed down to keep traction on slick surfaces. Bus routes stretched their headways, pausing safely at major stops. The metro system continued to operate, but several entrances and open plazas were briefly closed while crews shoveled ice and cleared pooling water. At the airport, ground teams urgently inspected runways and suspended departures during the heaviest waves of hail. On the urban fringe and in nearby farming zones, losses were visible. Orchards shed leaves and young fruit. Protective nets tore apart. Plastic greenhouses were punctured, letting in cold air that flattened seedlings. Just a few minutes of hail had wiped out months of careful labor for local farmers. Emergency services responded immediately. Dispatch centers fielded a surge of calls reporting collapsed awnings, shattered windows, and power cuts where fallen branches damaged lines. Fire crews deployed portable pumps to drain flooded basements and protect electrical rooms. Sanitation workers rushed to clear ice from priority roads to keep ambulance response times stable. Meteorologists explained the familiar setup: moist surface air lifted by atmospheric disturbance, strong wind shear helping to form storm cells, and freezing levels low enough to preserve hailstones on descent. Inside towering cumulonimbus clouds, embryonic hail was recirculated through supercooled droplets, layering repeatedly until gravity prevailed. The result was a patchwork of heavy strikes in some areas and lighter impacts in others. Hospitals and clinics prepared for an uptick in patients. Most injuries were minor: cuts from broken glass, slips on wet stairs, and bruises from wind-driven hail. Health officials advised residents to avoid wading through pooled water that might conceal debris and urged families to check on elderly neighbors.
呢啲生意唔係咁做㗎，平啊！有時候啲嘢係冇大家咁熟係冇？你阿媽喺呢啲生意係咁做㗎，唔係幾百蚊嘅問題。你要我幾百蚊，我俾你冇所謂係冇？你阿媽喺我。
Schools and universities quickly activated emergency protocols. Outdoor activities were postponed or moved indoors. Custodians cleared drains and inspected roofs for damage that could allow leaks long after surfaces appeared dry. In older neighborhoods, volunteers distributed plastic sheeting to cover broken skylights and windows until repairs could be arranged. As skies gradually cleared, recovery efforts began. Insurance adjusters documented dented cars, cracked roof tiles, and solar panels marked by microfractures. Auto shops were flooded with bookings for dent repair and glass replacement. Shop owners reported losses from leaks in storerooms and were advised to take photos and keep receipts for quicker claims processing. The storm also reignited conversations about the city's resilience. Experts are considering higher drainage standards that account not only for heavy rain, but also for ice blockages. Building committees are studying stronger impact ratings for skylights, rooftops, and external equipment. Transport authorities are testing dynamic speed regulations to apply when hail reduces traction on ramps and elevated roads. For many families, the memory remains vivid: the pounding on windows, the sudden chill in the air, and the sight of alleys glittering white beneath street lamps. Yet the city's rhythm quickly returned. Neighbors lent brooms and shovels. Drivers gave rides to stranded commuters. Shopkeepers swept away slush to prevent falls. By the time the last storm cells had faded, major roads were open again, and life moved forward. With its scale and sophistication, Beijing showed once more its ability to absorb sudden shocks. But the hailstorm also revealed that even well-prepared cities remain vulnerable to fast-forming extremes. Continued investment in forecasting, resilient infrastructure, and community preparedness will help reduce risks, shorten recovery time, and better protect the millions of people who keep the capital alive. Thank you for following this report. Please stay safe, stay connected, and join us again for future updates.
Thank you for watching. If you found this report helpful, please like, share, and subscribe, and stay safe until our next update.
On July 30th, 2025, China was struck by not one, but two major disasters in rapid succession, forcing emergency services into an unprecedented state of high alert. What began as the arrival of Tropical Storm K along the nation's southeastern coastline quickly escalated into a multi-front crisis when, just hours later, an 8.8 magnitude earthquake off Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula triggered regional tsunami warnings. Though never officially classified as a super typhoon, Tropical Storm K proved far more destructive than forecasts suggested. At 8:40 a.m. local time, the storm slammed into the port city of Yuhuan, located in Zhejiang province, with sustained winds peaking at 83 km/h, 51 mph. The storm brought a surge of seawater that flooded urban districts, crippling infrastructure. Over 280,000 residents were evacuated from vulnerable coastal areas, particularly in Shanghai and along the Zhejiang shoreline. Authorities had already issued the highest level weather alert, yet K's sudden intensification left multiple cities reeling. In Ningbo, relentless rainfall turned streets into rivers, cutting off entire neighborhoods. Vehicles were submerged, intersections disappeared beneath floodwaters, and first responders struggled to reach those in need. Pumps and makeshift barriers were deployed, but many areas remained inaccessible for hours. Even without a direct hit, Shanghai, home to over 24 million people, suffered massive disruption. The entire ferry network was suspended, while Pudong and Hongqiao airports ground to a halt. More than 600 train flights were canceled in a single day, 410 from Pudong and 230 from Hongqiao, stranding thousands of passengers. The storm's ripple effects extended to Hangzhou, Wenzhou, and Ningbo, where transport hubs faced delays and cancellations. Highway speed limits were cut to 60 km/h, while train operators reduced speeds or canceled services altogether. Far from the coast, Chengdu, capital of Sichuan province, faced an entirely different kind of weather disaster. In the early afternoon, skies turned dark and a violent hailstorm struck the city. Hailstones up to 3 centimeters, 1.2 inches in diameter pounded rooftops, shattered windows, and dented vehicles. One local car dealership reported heavy losses, with staff saying they had never seen hail of this size in Chengdu before. In the Shuangliu district, fierce winds uprooted trees, downed power lines, and caused widespread blackouts. Businesses shuttered, roads became gridlocked, and emergency crews were stretched to their limits. As relief efforts continued along China's eastern seaboard, disaster struck again. At approximately midday, a magnitude 8.8 earthquake hit off Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula, some 4,000 kilometers northeast of Shanghai. Within minutes, China's National Marine Forecasting Center issued tsunami alerts, warning of waves up to 1 meter, 3.3 feet, potentially reaching Shanghai and Yuhuan by evening. Unlike tropical storms, tsunamis offer almost no warning. Authorities urged residents to avoid coastal areas, stay indoors, and remain vigilant, stressing that even a 1-minute delay in evacuation could cost thousands of lives. While K's winds were not extreme by tropical cyclone standards, its real danger lay in compounded impacts: flooding, transport shutdowns, airport paralysis, power outages, now overlaid with the threat of a tsunami. Emergency shelters were opened across Shanghai and neighboring provinces. Police sealed off highways, redirected traffic, and pushed real-time updates via public messaging systems. Search and rescue teams remained on high alert. In an unusual twist, Shanghai Disneyland and Legoland both stayed open. Legoland suspended rides and shows but kept its gates open, while Disneyland continued full operations, citing strict weather monitoring. Social media erupted with mixed reactions, some praising the move as resilience, others calling it reckless. July 30th, 2025 will not be remembered for a single super typhoon, but for a convergence of crises. From the sky, the sea, and deep underground, K was not the strongest storm to ever hit China, but it was among the most chaotic.
不好意思，不得了哦。
哦哟，几个1号去看。哦哟，天嘞！
In Shanghai alone, more than 280,000 residents were displaced, tens of thousands of travelers were stranded, and infrastructure was pushed to its limits. While emergency authorities acted swiftly and decisively, experts warned that climate instability combined with seismic threats mean cities must rethink their approach to resilience in the 21st century.
Nature doesn't send us warnings, but we can. Floods, earthquakes, wildfires, and storms are striking harder and faster than ever before. By subscribing, you are not just watching, you are joining a movement to stay alert, stay informed, and helps others to do the same. Hit the subscribe now because the next disaster won't wait, and neither should you. Be ready and be aware. We sincerely thank you for taking the time to follow our report. Nature always holds both majestic beauty and the relentless challenges, and sharing information in a timely manner helps us better understand and prepare for every change. We hope you will continue to stay attentive, share, and join us in our upcoming programs. We wish you and your family peace, health, and safety in the face of any transformation of the climate and nature. We will meet you again in our next report.